Sachin, what's happening? Nice to have you on here.
Hey, Raga. Yeah, going good. How are you?
Very good, very good. I know you're very busy with work, so appreciate you jumping on today.
No worries, all good.
100%. And reason I've got you on today, man, is just to have a quick catch up, a bit of a discussion on how you found, your experience working with us and how you feel like, the properties that we've secured for you are doing so far. So just overall,
Yep.
like, when you approached us, has the kind of the experience, the journey, the process working with us been kind of what you expected, or how would you describe that?
Yep. So yeah, I guess when I first got on board with you guys, it's like overall it's been a really positive experience. I think, prior to you guys, I did kind of navigate the property market by myself. So, I guess it is good to have a little bit of experience on, what to look for and what to expect. Nearly 4 or 5 years ago when I first entered. But when I did, you know, reach out to you guys I think it was about nearly a year and a half ago now. The market had changed so much since then, and also me just being generally busier with work and other commitments, it has made me not able to spend as much time in the property market and really look for, I guess, that next purchase. So I guess, going into, a buyer's agency has really helped kind of grow my property goals of, whether it's, restructuring facilities or whether it's trying to find properties that can complement the portfolio in general, I think has been really rewarding. I've learned a lot from you guys as well. Like you guys have given me, really good insights in different markets and how they kind of interact with each other despite, you know, all these different variables happening, with inflation and interest rates and, just buyer demand. So I think overall it has been a very positive experience. And, I think honestly, like nothing has surprised me. I think like, if anything, I've really appreciated more of that end-to-end experience. As you guys probably recall from the, when we first spoke, nearly 18 months ago now
Yeah.
on that journey, I think it there is so many agencies out there, and even just with myself, I think finding the property is one thing, but I think just that service element of kind of seeing it end to end through also with financing and borrowing capacities and settlement, I think it's been a really rewarding experience to not only see you guys have that kind of strategy conversation initially, to then sourcing it, to then also, finding, a tenant, right at the end of the experience. I think all in all, I think, the experience has been, yeah, really rewarding to kind of go through that.
That's amazing, man. Really appreciate all the kind words as well. And I know you mentioned, about how much you've learned through the journey. And I think I really
Yep.
enjoy when clients point that, that learning incentive out from the whole process with us, because obviously we're here doing the end-to-end experience for you guys, but ultimately we're growing together. And
Yep.
that's why it's so important for clients to be involved in this process, understand why we're doing what we're doing. And we really take
Yep.
that strategy piece as like a high importance for all clients. So when you kind
Yeah.
of jump on, it's not just let's just find a property and buy something. It's how does this, work for your goals long term? How does this align to your overall portfolio? How we scale the portfolio? What is this property doing for us? How did you find we went through that strategy with your current goals in mind? And do you feel that we also evolve that strategy moving forward, given changes in life or what you want to do in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I still remember when we first spoke in that strategy session, I almost had an intention of like what I wanted as the
Mhm.
first purchase. But I think after that conversation, kind of profiling what the next couple of years look like, what potentially property purchase number 2 or 3 looks like down the track has been, I guess, honestly, probably the biggest rewarding thing from the strategy session, because I guess I've kind of walked in with a closed view of, this is just my next purchase, but you guys have kind of opened my view to, if you structure, I guess, your next 2 property purchases in this way, you can, really take advantage of the gross effect on multiple properties and rather than just locking it in on one. And, I think, like to your point, that's definitely evolved, right? Like I think my intention initially was to just focus on one. But between, hearing you guys and seeing how we can structure it to kind of grow the portfolio to 2 on 3, it's really, yeah, really evolved my strategy process and I guess outlook for the next, 3, 4, 5 years. So yeah, I think it was really good to have that, that
Yeah.
strategy session.
Yeah, and that I think for us, it's all about we're not saying to clients, you should be buying multiple. You do what you're comfortable with, but for us, it's
Yeah,
always about showcasing what you're capable of doing in the market. So especially when we
yep,
know the way the market's moving, we can look at the properties we've secured as an example of that. If we're
yep,
maximizing our potential in a way that still suits your lifestyle, that you're not, limiting the way you can freely live from a day-to-day basis, but you can still secure
yeah,
properties, hold the properties, you're going to just maximize in all aspects of life. And I think that's very crucial for us from that strategy piece. And
yep,
when you're talking about the end-to-end process, that's something that we really take accountability for all our clients. And we want to make sure
yep,
that obviously you're busy at work. So the last thing you want to be stressing about after you've engaged us is what's happening with our properties in any way, shape, or form. We want to be there. So
yep.
with the end-to-end process, how did you find our support? Did you ever feel like we weren't available, or it was a bit hard to get in touch with us, or we weren't doing any steps that we kind of promised initially?
Yeah. No, I think like the short answer is it was very positive. What I really liked was, not having to spend additional time to kind of find the right contacts for financing or find
Mm.
the right contacts for, a real estate agent locally to where the property is. These things matter generally with property purchases, and to have almost that all-in-all service from you guys, it was really good. And I think what I really liked was you guys were quite flexible with particular types of financing structures with me as well. So being able to bring my own kind of financing contacts or tax contacts to kind of help with the process has been really rewarding. But at the same time, like leveraging that information that you guys already have, being able to use, a really local focused real estate agent, being able to
Mm.
use a local conveyancer or solicitor to help with settlement. These things just take time in the
Yeah.
process. And I think like just having, those contacts readily available, um, relationship that you guys have developed in the first place, that you can then provide to your clients as well, has been good. And like, even speaking with the agents, even speaking with the conveyancer at the time of settlement was really good. Like they were really easy, responding to, all the queries that we had at the time of settlement. And even with I still remember we had, um, the pest checks as well. We wanted to make sure that that was all good and, kind of answering all those queries back and forth between us and them. It just gives almost that extra confidence to someone like me who's kind of entering the process
Yeah.
fresh and new. So yeah.
Yeah. No, amazing. I'm very glad it's a very positive experience for you. And I think the last question I'll ask is, are you happy with the results so far from the purchases?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I think like I said, it's been nearly 18 months since we first spoke, and just being able to appreciate kind of how the market has evolved so much in that time. But, looking at the properties that we've looked at and still seeing growth, I think ultimately we are working in an environment where it's a little bit unpredictable. It's hard to see, where property would move, in the future. But I think given the data, we've spoken about, and given all those variables and, all things considered, results, speak to themselves. So I have been very lucky that the properties that, that I purchased interstate with you has seen growth. We're looking to settle another one quite soon at the end of the year. Again, that's going to complement the portfolio really well as well. So yeah, I think it has been really, really good, and really happy with the process. Yeah, at
Amazing,
the
man.
moment, which is good. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're very blessed and lucky to work with clients like yourself. Like the way we work is obviously have that client relationship to make sure it's very personal. We're involved with your day-to-day lives as well, and we want to grow
Yep.
together. So ultimately, it's been a pleasure, man. Really appreciate you jumping on. Thanks, Sachin.
Yep. No worries. Thanks, Raghav.